Soon after the establishment of the Mongol Empire, one man emerged as a rival to supreme power against Chinggis Khan. This was no king or general, but a shaman, Teb Tengri, who used his influence to undermine the Khan and turn his family against each other. This is the story of the shaman who almost took down the Mongol Empire before it even left Mongolia. Our story begins years before the founding of the Great Mongol State. When he was still a boy, Chinggis Khan, or as he was known before he took that title, Temujin, saw his family abandoned in the steppes after the murder of his father. While his mother Olalun's courage in maintaining her family is well known, what is less commonly told is that she remarried after her husband's death, once her son Temujin began his career as a warlord. Her final and third husband was a loyal follower of her son named Menglik of the Konkotan. Menglik's family had been in service to Temujin's for years, and it was Menglik himself who had brought Temujin back to his dying father. Menglik was for a time a follower of Jamukha, before joining with Temujin in the mid-1180s. Perhaps as a reward for his defection, Temujin allowed Menglik to wed Olalun. Menglik brought with him 7 sons from previous marriages. Among them was the middle son named Hokuchu. His early life is unknown to us, but in time he grew to become a mighty shaman, called by the Mongols as Böga and by the Turkic word Kam. Usually, such a position was inherited, but it's unclear if Menglik was ever considered a shaman. Hokuchu made a name for himself, eventually being titled Teb Tengri. His feats were well known to the Mongols even decades after his death. In the 1250s, the Persian writer Juvayni reported being told by Mongols how Teb Tengri walked naked through the coldest parts of Mongolia, melting the ice with his intense body heat, or how Teb convened with spirits and travelled on a grey horse into the sky to consult with heaven, Tengri. The shaman's most common role was as diviners, astrologers, and physicians. It was as a foreteller of future fortunes that made Teb Tengri rise in influence with his stepbrother, Temujin Khan. Indeed, we are told it was Teb Tengri who gave Temujin the belief he would become a great conqueror. Juvayni wrote of how Teb returned from trances and journeys, saying how God had given him a clear message. I have given all the face of the earth to Temujin and his children, and named him Chinggis Khan. Bid him administer justice in such and such a fashion. These same accounts tell how Teb Tengri granted Temujin his title of Chinggis Khan in 1206, with the declaration of the Mongol Empire. Teb continued as a diviner to Chinggis Khan, interpreting astrological events, burning sheep shoulder blades, and convening with spirits. It seems that in 1209, he was the one who read auspicious signs in the sky and foresaw great fortune for a new grandson of Chinggis, and chose a name for the boy, Menka. In this fortune, Teb was correct. Some 40 years later, Menka became Great Khan of the Mongol Empire. In the meantime, Chinggis listened and followed everything Teb had to say. Teb Tengri's confidence grew alongside the Khan's trust in him. We may assume he undertook the same thing sources critiqued later shamans for, taking excessive shares of tribute that was purified by passing through fire, or claiming he had received word from the spirits of evil action by his rivals. But unlike his successors, Teb also increased his temporal power too. His father Menglik was made a commander of 1,000 men in 1206, and in the following years Teb enticed more people into his camp, taken from those assigned to Chinggis Khan's own brothers, who grew irate at this. When confronted by Chinggis' brother Khazar, Teb and his brothers beat him up, sending the famous warrior slinking back to Chinggis. When Khazar complained to his brother, Chinggis dismissed and insulted him. Khazar did not return for 3 days. Teb now made his move. He told Chinggis how the spirits came to him with conflicting messages, sometimes speaking of letting Temujin rule, and at other times Khazar. Teb urged Chinggis to act against his brother. That night, Chinggis had Khazar seized and questioned. When Chinggis' mother Olalun learned of this, she rode out straight away on a cart hitched to a camel, arriving in time to berate her sons for their infighting. Chinggis, frightened of his mother's wrath, acquiesced and pardoned Khazar. After Olalun's departure, Chinggis still had some of Khazar's subjects taken away as punishment. A still angry Oğuzhan passed away soon after. The terrible Teb Tengri continued to torment with his machinations. According to Juvayni, a desire arose in Teb Tengri for the throne itself. He siphoned off many of the subjects of Temüga, Chinggis' youngest brother. After stealing the horse of Temüga's envoy, Temüga then went in person to confront Teb, only for Teb Tengri and his brothers to force Temüga to kneel before them. After getting away, a crying Temüga burst into the ger of Chinggis Khan, waking up his older brother and wife, Lady Borta. When Temüga explained himself, Borta urged her husband into action, telling him, if this was what they would do to his own brothers, what would Teb do to their sons in time? Teb Tengri was a threat who had to be dealt with. Chinggis, as he so often did, heeded the words of Borta and finally realized what Teb Tengri had been doing all along. He gave Temüga permission to do as he saw fit. Later that day, Teb Tengri, his brothers, and Father Mernlik came to the court of Chinggis Khan, only for Temüga to grab Teb by the collar and challenge him to a wrestling match. Temüga pulled Teb outside, and there 3 strong men grabbed Teb, broke his back, and threw him to the ground. The shaman, Teb Tengri, was dead. When Temüga returned to the ger alone, he told the crowd how Teb had fallen in a bad way and refused to get back up. As Father Mernlik began to cry, Teb's 6 remaining brothers got up and began making threatening motions. Chinggis Khan hurried past them out of the ger and surrounded himself with the keshig, the bodyguard, who forced Teb's brothers back. Seeing where Teb's body had been dragged off to, Chinggis ordered a tent placed over it, and the Ordu moved away. 3 nights later, it was said, Teb's body disappeared through the smoke hole. Mernlik and his sons were eventually forgiven, but his family's influence was diminished, and never again did shamans come to threaten the power of the great Khan. We'll discuss a bit more of Teb Tengri's legacy in a following video.